time I see you, you make my heart say.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another video. So I want to speak on something that I saw on, I was watching a podcast. I don't know the name of the individuals who did the podcast, but one of the ladies on the podcast said that she was a married single mom. So another woman who was on the podcast looked at her like she was crazy and said, huh? And she said, I'm a married single mother. And so the other lady was like, what do you mean? So you're married, right? She was like, yeah. She was like, so how are you a single mom and you're married? And so she went on to explain herself by saying, I am married, but my husband does not help me at all with our kids. He does nothing. He don't change Pampers. He doesn't feed. He doesn't do anything. And even when I am tired from doing everything, he pokes fun at me. Look at you falling asleep feeding the baby. Instead of picking up the baby and feeding the baby, he made fun and ridiculed her for being tired because she does everything. So I want to ask you about that. How do you guys feel about that? How many of you guys were maybe married or together in a relationship with someone, but at the same time a single parent? I'm not saying that the father did not provide financially. I'm referring to the simple day-to-day task of being a parent. You know, a lot of times when you have a child, the father gets up sometime, the mother gets up, the father feeds, the mother feeds. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Have you known of, or have you ever been in a relationship with someone that you had a child with, but they helped you none at all? So I'm thinking back to the time that I lived in Florida. I had two. My babies were both young. And my baby's father lived with us. And my baby was not a newborn. The youngest one was at least one, maybe even a little bit older than that. So when it came to responsibilities, my baby's father worked about an hour to an hour and a half away, so he had to get up every morning to go to work. So he took the oldest baby to school, dropped her off at school, and then went to work. When he got home, or when he finished working, he would go pick her up and bring her to me. After school, she would go to the daycare center. As a matter of fact, I think before school, she even went to the daycare center because he did leave kind of early. Whatever the case is, because I don't remember the details, but he did do that part. So I was responsible for the little one because we both had to leave the house later, and I only had to take her to the daycare when I had to go to school because I was a full-time student and I worked from home at the time when that was not so popular. But I was an entrepreneur, so I worked from home. So in that respect, in that period of time, I did have someone who helped out a little bit. If I had somewhere to go, you know, he kept the kids and things of that nature. Now, years later, I remember him telling me, I used to hate when you left me with them because my oldest daughter, he said she was bad and she had a mouth on her, which she did. I mean, she did. But anyway, I didn't know she was getting smart with him, and he never told me. He never told on her, you know. He just dealt with it. But what about you guys? Did you guys ever have that situation to where you were a single parent in a relationship? And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about it? And what would you advise another woman who has that situation, who cannot handle the situation? What would you advise her to do about it? What would be the proper way to try to fix it? Or did you fix your situation when you had it? I just want feedback on this because it was such an interesting thing to hear. I'm a married single parent. Like, never heard of that. So it was so interesting to hear. And so I just want to know, how you guys feel about that. How do you feel? Have you ever experienced that? Do you know anybody who experienced it? And what advice would you give someone who was going through it? That is the question I have, and that's what I would like for us to discuss. Now, we may do another video on this later, or maybe even if it's enough input, maybe do a live about it. But as of right now, I'm just trying to gather information about it. Like, how do you guys feel about it, and what do you think about it? So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Have you ever experienced it? Do you know anyone who went through it? And what would your advice be to someone dealing with this? And I will definitely see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Every time I see you, you make my heart say.